Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Cup Chat with Birding with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. I am super excited today to have Stephanie joining us. Stephanie is only part of our Birding with Extension family as a past participant, but she also has a really cool job. And so, Stephanie, tell us where you work as we kind of dive in today to Beyond the Birds, and we're going to be talking about butterflies. So tell us what your really cool job is.
Yes, so I work at the National Butterfly Center. The National Butterfly Center is a pilot project of the North American Butterfly Association. We are located in Mission, Texas, right on all the way to the banks of the Rio Grande River. And my position there is I wear a lot of hats, which is the best part. I am actually the nursery manager, but I also get to do some education. I work with the Girl Scouts. I actually learned to camp while I started working there, and we lead Camping Under the Stars. Our job is to be advocates for butterflies, for nature, for all the biodiversity we have here in the Rio Grande Valley.
Well, she does have a really cool job. And we've mentioned Stephanie several times on Cup Chat. This is your first time to come on. We met you about a year ago at Learn to Bird when we hosted our first Learn to Bird. And you got, I don't remember how many lifers that day. And we made that really cool sign to take a picture by the river. So if you haven't seen Stephanie's lifer sign by the river, we'll post that. It was super cool. So Stephanie, we've opened registration for Learn to Bird. If you could give anyone some advice and tell them why to register for Learn to Bird, what would it be?
Learn to Bird was probably the best choice I ever made. You don't have to be a new birder. I think that's what made me take so long to register the last time. But I had 5 years birding, and I went in there and I learned more than I thought I knew, especially coming in and being asked to draw a bird by memory. I was like, I got this. And to be honest, I didn't have it, and I learned so many different tricks. And the community there was, number one, having Brian there, having Maureen, having you. It was just different to be able to learn everything together and getting to be in the field. So we got to learn different tricks, to learn techniques about birds. And then we got to be in the field in this incredible place in West Texas. So I recommend it to everybody. You'll come out a better birder. If you're a new birder, you will appreciate birds in a bigger way, and then you get to go owling. So that was highlight of my trip.
Yes, we did. And we saw the Western screech owl when you were there. I am getting eaten up by gnats, guys. Like literally. Sorry. Now they're gonna see me flopping around and flailing. I think some are mosquitoes too. Well, anyways, we're excited about Learn to Bird. We wish Stephanie, we're excited to have Stephanie back at some of our programs, even if she doesn't come back to Learn to Bird this year. But I think it's going to be a different experience. We've moved Learn to Bird to 2 new locations. We're going to be in Kerrville, in Kirk County. We're going to be at the Riverside Nature Center and the Kerr Wildlife Management Area. So those are going to be some cool spots. And we're also going to be at Long Acres Ranch in Richmond, just outside of Houston. And this is kind of a unique property, just in the sense that we will be closer to the Gulf and closer to South Texas, and really provide some really unique birding opportunities in both locations. And plus, and they're a little bit closer to civilization. When we were out on the McKenna Ranch, we are fairly remote. So we're excited to be back a little bit closer to some towns. But well, who knows where Learn to Bird will take us in coming years. But this year we're going to be in Kerrville and in Fort Bend County. So we're excited. All right, let's dive into Beyond the Birds. So this is a new Cup Chat series that we've created. You're our second guest. Terry Hibbets was our first guest. Why? We talked about dragonflies last time, and we're going to talk about butterflies this year. What makes those similar or different? And kind of tell us a little bit more about butterflies in general.
Yes, I actually loved watching him talk about dragonflies. It was pretty fun. So our butterflies and dragonflies, they both have scaly wings. They both are insects, of course. They have their antennas, but butterfly antennas are actually larger. They're longer antennas than dragonflies. Their butterflies have clubbed antennas. We also, our butterfly wings are going to be colorful. They're going to have more color compared to our dragonflies, but dragonfly wings are sturdier. And they both are going to be, I like watching you struggle, Emily.
They're killing me. I mean, I promise you I'm going to look like I have the chicken pox after all these mosquitoes get done for me, but I don't have a better spot to, my Wi-Fi is pretty particular, so.
Actually, dragonflies eat mosquitoes, so well, I hope you have some dragonflies near you.
Come here, dragonflies. I need you. So, yes.
That's another difference between them. So dragonflies are actually predators. They will eat mosquitoes. They will eat butterflies. I've actually been walking our trail and see butterfly wings falling down, and that's because they fall in predator to a dragonfly. So our butterflies are not going to be predators. They feed on nectar. They feed on, so we always say we feed 4 kinds of butterflies. The nectar loving, so we have our flowers. Sap loving, we have trees. Fruit loving butterflies, we make banana brew. So we put out bananas, brown sugar, and dark beer out on our trail. We mix it up.
Beer. You waste beer on butterflies, Stephanie.
It's not a waste. It brings them all in. We use that Negra Modelo. They love it. So then we also have the 4th kind of butterfly that we don't really feed. That one, if we're sweating, they're on us. If there's any kind of even like animal poop, so raccoon poop, coyote poop, you see them on there. And then of course our butterflies are gonna puddle. So dragonflies lay their eggs in water, and butterflies actually need those little water puddles to be able to go and take minerals from the soil so that they can reproduce.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's go back to this beer and banana mixture. Are there certain butterflies that use that, or do all butterflies love that?
Certain butterflies. So there's the fruit-loving butterflies. Like here we have our Mexican blue wings, tawny emperors, hackberry emperors. Those love it. When we have our migration and we have malachites, they will be fluttering to it. But you do find that when there is nothing else in the like when we had the freeze, we had Yuri, they were all flocking to our brew. So we were putting out brew more so that we could be able to feed our butterflies because there was not much out there.
So do you recommend people at home waste their beer on butterflies?
I think you should share your beer. So if you get a 6-pack, you would put one aside for the butterflies. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, I completely understand. It is just one of those things that not wasting, but sharing is caring. I just, well, and then at least I don't like light beer because that, at least I don't have to share all my beers, just my dark beers. So, hopping over, we hear a lot about monarch butterflies and their population decline and being a species of conservation that we really need to be focusing on. Share a little bit about monarchs and how we support them, especially through their migration. They will come through Texas a little bit, and how we support them through that process.
Yes, so monarchs are a species of concern. Actually, the reason I got hired to be at the National Butterfly Center was to work on a grant project to plant 10,000 native milkweeds. And that was in a span of 2 years, and I was able to plant, to propagate them. And then from there, we planted them in what we called our monarch way station. So the monarch is for me, it's always like that like the first butterfly that starts you off into the world of butterflies. It's a beautiful butterfly. It's those bright orange colors. It's a Texas insect. And it has a wide distribution. So a lot of people know it from coming from Canada through the US going into Mexico. So that's a reason why it's always going to be kind of like your gateway butterfly. And the good thing about monarchs is that they do get a lot of attention, and that we're able to have a different species of milkweed. So there's about 100 different species of milkweed, and everybody can do their part in helping the monarch by planting the milkweed that's in their area, that should be native to their area. So that's our efforts for our monarch.
Gotcha.
But really, it's just planting our natives. And I know we'll be having a talk about natives next week with your cup chat, but natives are really important to have, because the thing about our populations, it's the monarch is one butterfly, but it's connected to all our other local and regional butterflies that need help too.
Well, that is neat. So in terms of monarchs and eating, we know that milkweed is one of those things that they really do eat. Are there other things people can do at their home to support monarch migration as they see those monarchs come through? Is there something other than milkweed that they can plant to support that?
So our monarchs are going to be needing two different kinds of food, right? So they need food when they are caterpillars, which is going to be their obligate feeders. So they need that milkweed. The milkweed that is native to your area is the best for them. And then they're going to need a nectar source. So they need that energy that they're going to get to fly and to be able to migrate. So you would add different sunflowers. There's so many plants. So we have our Wedelias, our lantana. All of those are going to be great nectar food for them. So make sure you add some native plants, some flowering plants that are native to your area. I'm not that you shouldn't buy at the stores, like the big stores, but try to find a native nursery in your area, because the main damage that happens to these plants is the pesticides and herbicides that are actually in the plants. It's not something that you can just wash off. I'm glad I'm doing mine inside my house, so I'm not like you, Emily, today.
Oh, it's awful. I don't even know how to move to get away. I mean, they're just like attacking me, and they're mosquitoes too. I need more dragonflies. Well, what one thing you mentioned was native plants and lantana. Why overall in general are native plants so important for all of our as we talk about birds, butterflies, and dragonflies, but why are native plants more important than bringing in exotic? I don't know, what do you even call non-native plants? There you go.
Yes. So even when we talk about native plants, there's this big discussion, especially like for me here in the Valley, there's a big discussion of what is native. If it grows in Mexico, it should be native, those kind of things. But these are the plants that are in your area. They're regional plants. They are what these butterflies, these birds, all of these pollinators are actually needing, because they have the food for them. So these are the plants that belong here. These are all our native plants are going to have a lot of the stuff that these butterflies
Stephanie,
need.
you froze on me.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. I can see now.
I'm back. We're going to have a fun cup chat with you swatting mosquitoes and me freezing.
So non-native versus native plants and why those are important.
Yes, our native plants are important because they are what feeds our butterflies, our birds, and all of our native species. These are the plants that have all those rich nutrients for them that are going to have the energy for these butterflies and birds. Another thing is, if you're planting natives in your yard, you're saving water. So that's their escaping, right? And all of these plants have a purpose specifically.
Yes. I need one of those yards where I don't have to do a whole lot of work, because I am I'm not talented in the gardening front.
For a lot of gardeners that come to the nursery, they're like, give me something I don't have to worry about. And I'm like, all of these plants, don't worry, just help me, just, care for them the first 3 weeks and then let them go and they'll take over. They've got this. So our native plants are also...
Well, I think... No, keep going. You're fine.
Our native plants are also exactly what our native bees need, our native pollinators. Everything that is here is meant to be for this population, these species. They are... My mind went blank. They're actually evolved to be able to have to be for these plants. So they have that long proboscis for it. They have all the different features that are exactly what can feed on these plants.
Well, I think that's I think you have a really cool job. And I think it's always a blessing when you can have a green thumb or understand plants, because I do not. Now, what about let's talk a little bit about butterflying. You know, we talk about birding a lot and people make lists. Butterflying is the same thing. So there are people who butterfly, and I don't know what a technical term is for that, but I would assume, did you start out as a butterflyer and then move to birds, or did you start with birds and move to butterflies?
I actually started off as a birder. So what I did was I went to the butterfly center first time and I did a bird walk. I learned a lot about butterflies, and I'd never seen these colors, these different butterflies that were being shown to me. But then I became a birder first. And when it was quiet at 12 o'clock, when those birds went quiet, the butterflies came out. That's when I started noticing all the butterflies. I became a butterflyer. and then of course, so butterflyers are actually a big group. I was able to lead my first tour to Costa Rica this year to do butterflying.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing.
So
butterflies, thank you. So butterflies are actually, I always try to tell people and visitors that you got to look for the butterflies in every size. So everybody's looking for those large, beautiful, the giant swallowtail, you know, black swallowtails, Mexican blue wings, monarchs. But you've got to look closely, especially when it's very windy. You're going to look at your skippers, which are your small butterflies, kind of look like they have a jet.
Oh, that's cool.
Your hair streaks, which in the back of their tail, they have two little tails that do this. Those are your hair streaks. They're small. And your blues, which are going to catch your attention with that bright color. So we just have to remember it as much as birders look at those characteristics and colors of birds, butterflies have the same, but they're just come in different sizes and they're hidden in little spots. You just have to know where to find them.
Well, that's a neat thing. And, you know, the one thing that's great about just being a naturalist in general is learning your birds. And you're right. Right now is when we need to be out birding, which I've had a little Carolina chickadee in my tree as we've done Kept Chat this morning. But as, you know, the day warms up, being able to appreciate those butterflies and continue our day in the field versus just going in and sitting down in front of the TV. So that gives everyone another opportunity to stay out a little bit longer and find some more things that interest them. So if you haven't butterflied, we obviously recommend Stephanie as a tremendous resource. And so if you have questions, make sure you put that in the comments below. And then the other thing is, go check out the National Butterfly Center. It's such a neat place. And do you want to do a free 30-second commercial for it? I know you kind of told us a little bit about it. If you want to give us a full free 30-second commercial for the National Butterfly Center, we would love to have one.
Yes, of course. Number one, we do have our Texas Butterfly Festival coming up. That's October 31st to November 2nd. We're trying to be as safe as possible following COVID protocols. And the Butterfly Center was 100 acres. Originally, we were an onion field that was transformed into this beautiful native habitat for butterflies. And we recently acquired 350 more acres.
Wow.
This area used to be called Chihuahua Woods, and it's now called the Pixie Preserve. We are working hard to be able to bring everything back to what it should be, its native habitat. The Pixie Preserve is already an undisturbed area, which we are so excited to be able to go and explore. So come on out and get educated with us, butterfly with us, bird, and just enjoy the valley.
Well, that sounds wonderful. I don't know that we can make it one this year, but I'm going to vote that Maureen and I come down one year, and that will be so fun. So
yes, definitely.
We'll have to visit you. But anyways, everyone, we want to say thank you, Stephanie, for joining us talking about Beyond the Birds and Butterflies. And we will just, we're excited for Learn to Bird coming up. Check out the National Butterfly Center. We have had a blast with you talking about Beyond the Birds. Do you have anything else you want to share about butterflies, Stephanie?
Well, I know that I missed a lot because there's so much to say. So just any questions that you all have, leave them on the Facebook chat, and I will definitely go in and comment and reply to your questions.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Stephanie, for joining us. We appreciate it. It's been a wonderful Wednesday morning, and everybody have a great week.
Thank you.